Welcome back to our podcast where we talk about food. Now today, Crystal is presenting us with a recipe.
No, I'm not. Cook croissants for 2. Day 1, take 5 ml of active dry yeast, measure and set aside. 60 ml water, warm, and 3 ml of sugar. Measure into a medium bowl, cool to lukewarm. Once cooled, sprinkle yeast over top. Let stand for 10 minutes. Stir. 45 ml evaporated milk, room temperature. 2 ml sat. I guess I must say salt. 25 ml sugar. 25 ml egg beaten. 50 ml flour. Add to yeast mixture. Beat to a smooth batter using a whisk. 30 ml melted margarine. Blend into mixture and set aside. 60 ml chilled margarine. 250 ml flour in a large bowl using a pastry cutter. Cut chilled margarine into the flour. Pour yeast batter into the flour / margarine mixture. Carefully blend just until the flour is moist.
Moist? Okay, keep
Dough
going.
will be quite moist. Dough will be quite moist. Place dough into a baggie, allowing room for the dough to expand. Label with your names and place on the tray. Provided refrigerate for a minimum of 4 hours.
So you don't really need to put them. You don't really need to put your name on it if you're making it at home.
Yeah. This was made in our culinary arts class, so we were like, oh, yeah, we got to do it this way.
We don't technically have to, but still. Anyway.
Well, if you don't want someone to steal your dough, like what happened to
dough.
Yeah. Well,
As in John Doe.
well, like you don't want some people to steal your dough because it has happened.
Pokemon?
Shut up. I took foods last year and some kids stole our pasta dough off the tray. And our names were even on it. And we were like, where's our pasta dough? And the teacher's like, did you put it on the tray? And we were like, yeah. And she's like, were your names on it? And we were like, yeah. And one of our people of our group spoke up and they were like, oh, I saw so-and-so take our dough. And I was like, are you serious? That's like,
Oof.
You see, we messed up too badly on our dough, so nobody wanted to take ours.
Professional. Anyways, day 2, preheat to oven to 325. Yeah. Press dough into a compact ball on a lightly floured counter. Knead about 4 turns to release air bubbles. Roll dough into a large circle. Cut out 8 pie-shaped wedges. For each croissant, roll the edge towards the point. Shape into crescents on a ungreased cookie sheet. Allow to rise until double the size. When almost double in size, with an equal amount of beaten egg and water, brush the egg wash onto the croissants. Bake in a moderate oven, 325 degrees Fahrenheit, for 25 to 30 minutes or until lightly browned.
yeah. So, I want my book.
No, you don't.
Rude. So, this croissant recipe, not really a croissant.
Yeah, it's more of a bread roll.
Yeah, like, folks, if you know anything about baking, or if you don't, that's chill. But, like,
Well, I hope they know about baking. They're on our site.
Yeah, but, like, you shouldn't be putting yeast in croissants.
No, isn't it supposed to be puff pastry?
Yeah, it is a puff pastry. And
But, yeah, this is basically just a bread recipe and then instructed to roll it like a croissant.
Yeah.
And it tastes like bread, too, so.
Yeah.
Bread.
It was okay bread. Like, it was average bread.
For the school system, it's counted as a croissant recipe.
Yeah.
Which is below.
It was, yeah. I don't know about yours, but when we were doing ours in my group, we had a problem with ours rising. And we didn't
that's
even
why I stuck mine in the oven for a few minutes, so it would rise in there instead of on the counter, because that classroom is cold as...
True enough. I wish I could wear my hoodie sometimes, but, like, I make a mess with flour.
Yeah, because they have cement walls, and
I make a mess. So it's like, I shouldn't be wearing, like, my sweater. Also, don't let, I noticed something when Crystal was talking about the yeast. if you do decide to do your croissants this way, no judgment, but like if you're gonna do the yeast part, you kind of like don't let it where was it? That's why I can't tell where it is. That's not even croissants. Where is
Come
it?
on, you got this.
Oh, there it is.
There you
Next
go.
one. It said measure into a medium bowl, cooled to lukewarm. Once cooled, sprinkle yeast over top. You're supposed to put like way hotter water in there than that and then let it cool. It should not be like room temperature cold because the yeast has to grow.
Yeah.
And your yeast will not grow if your water's cold. Your water has to be like warm. Like a little bit more than warm.
It should be actually warm because if you have it as hot and then let it cool a little bit, so it's just
it's just the way they worded it. It was not fantastic.
Yeah, they could have chosen different.
Yeah,
words
if you were like a real beginner, I feel like somebody would have gotten confused.
Yeah, leave it for a couple minutes and then come back and realize.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any carbon monoxide or anything. Yeah. So it's like
there wouldn't be the heat for the yeast to
grow. Yeah, no.
For the yeast
it was
to yeast
not,
obviously.
Yeah. I feel like also just because it's such a bready bread recipe, I feel
bread recipe.
Well, you know, like a bready croissant, you could instead of to make it better.
To make it breader.
Breader.
Wow.
Oh my
It's
god.
gotta be buttered.
You like I was just thinking about it while Crystal was saying out the recipe. Like you could do
Quit kicking me.
You could do
That's assault.
No, it's.
I took
we're
law
not talking
12.
about bread.
Anyways, you could make like a glaze or something like that, or a light icing, and just kind of drizzle it over top. Stop being pests to each other, guys. Leave the shoelaces alone.
Or they don't untie.
No.
Don't even think about undoing my boots, honey.
Your boobs. I'm concerned.
Oh, you.
Your what?
My boots, not my
Boobs.
Anywho, you could do like a.
You killed Duffy.
The teacher's gonna see this.
You could do like a light glaze, and it'd be okay.
It's okay. He
With
knows it's
some
me.
like icing sugar and a little bit of milk and some
Wait,
water.
we're not talking about boobs anymore, are we?
Icing sugar and water.
I stopped listening for a second. I got very confused.
Hang on, the sunglasses.
But like, yeah, you could do it that way. And then, but yeah, out of 10, how would you rate this recipe?
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese again.
Yes.
Okay.
So what's your true rating? We need a number.
For saying so it was a bread recipe for croissant, I'd probably rate it like a 6. It was good bread if it wasn't for the fact that it was supposed to be in a croissant croissant recipe.
For me, as a croissant, I would rate it as a 2 because it's not really a croissant. But as a bread, I would rate it like a 5 to a 6 because it was pretty good bread.
It was just very bready.
Well, no, it was bread, but a croissant, and it was not a croissant. It was bad.
Croissants are supposed to be crumbly.
Yeah, and they're supposed
And
to
flaky.
like
Yeah.
flake. And like another thing was
I want a
like
croissant which now.
I know, right? Croissant witches are so good. Anyways,
If it's actually a croissant.
also it just told you to like roll it out into a circle, into like a circle of dough. Well, in traditional croissants, you're supposed to layer. You're supposed to have enough butter so that you can like fold it over, roll it out, and layer it so that you have nice layers of
Croissantage.
Flakiness.
yeah.
Oh,
Flaky
Of
heavenly
croissantage.
goodness.
Yeah, and there was no call for that.
They literally just said roll it out into a circle and cut it into triangles.
Yeah,
So-
it was not fantastic. It was just.
And really, if I had thought of it at the time, I would have layered it. But yeah,
there
I
was
just
also
following the recipe at the
there
time.
was also not even really enough margarine or
butter
in this
Fats.
case
to be
Fats,
counted as
to
a-
even layer. There was
or to
not
be
enough.
counted as a croissant because
Or
croissants
yeah,
are like
Well, there wasn't
Very
even really
buttery.
enough to layer.
If you find an
in there.
actual croissant recipe, they have a ton of butter.
Yeah, it's like a full stick of butter.
Yeah.
Oh, butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of butter in a real croissant, and that was like what 70 mils.
I think it was like 60.
It was like
It
not-
wasn't that much.
It wasn't enough. It was like maybe a tenth of what actually goes into real
60
croissants.
mils is like, I think it's like a quarter of a cup or a third of a cup.
I don't even think it's that.
I don't remember.
It says. So there was like 90 mils of margarine.
That is not enough.
And no, it was not enough to even layer if you even really wanted to. I would add more, in my opinion. Good for you. But I would probably have added way more just to make it like an actual croissant.
And cheese. Cheese, definitely cheese.
Oh, cheese would have been good.
Ooh, cheese croissants.
I had cheese on mine because
Oh,
Miss Wilson's
cheese
great.
croissants.
Nutella
Actually,
croissants. What?
They are good, yes, but like.
Nothing to moan over there.
Just like chocolate, okay.
That's
Yeah,
not
like-
really chocolate though. It's a
Nutella is like a
hazelnut
chocolate
Yeah,
spread.
nut.
same thing.
It's a hazelnut spread with cocoa.
Exactly. It's
And a
chocolate.
lot of palm oil, which is really bad for you.
Isn't that
I'll
the
die
stuff that
anyways.
causes cancer?
Palm
Huh?
oil?
They linked an ingredient in Nutella that causes cancer.
Well, they link a lot of things to cancer. Like, I was
Yeah.
watching the news last night, and it's like.
A while ago,
It was
supposedly
like
coffee
women's,
causes cancer, so.
women's
wouldn't
hair
believe it.
dye and women's straightening thing to make your hair straighter. They're like, it has been linked to different types of cancer, and then black women, because some of them choose to straighten their hair, they're like, they have a 45% increase, and I'm like, those are some.
Those are whack numbers.
Those are because
My-
in like Caucasian and other.
And in my grandma's couch, there was also cancer-causing materials in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Couch
So then she returned her couch.
Mood.
It literally came with a tag that says "may cause cancer."
Who tries
What
to
couch
sell?
may cause
Oh
cancer?
my
That's just
God.
concerning.
How's it
That's-
going?
Good.
This is pretty relaxing, actually.
It's entertaining. This is, I think, our last one.
This is your last one, you could.
Should be.
Yeah. Oh, in conclusion of all of our cancer talk, our croissants that are not really croissants but bread, we conclude.
And the random teacher walking into the middle of it.
Yeah, and we conclude our episode today. Adios, amigos.